threatening me.
Just, I don't get it, man. I honestly don't get it. Like, I was just, chilling, minding my own business. Next thing I know, I'm live, and I had no idea. And I'm just barking one up. And I rewatched it back because they all pissed themselves laughing.
Yeah, yeah.
And Marie from SoCal, because she was on the stream, and she was like, "Rousey, no!" I'm just like, "Yeah."
Rousey, dear God, what the fuck?
G'day, this is the Two Beards Wrexham Podcast, your go-to for all things Wrexham AFC. Join us as we chat about the highs and lows of our favourite footy club. She'll be right, mate. G'day, Beard Brethren, Shields, fuckheads, and just all-round legends. Yes, we're here for another week. Fuck yeah. Look at us go. We are on fire today. We are having a bit of fun, having a good bit of chit chat, and I should probably say welcome to the Two Beards Wrexham podcast. If you don't like us, fuck off. But if you do, stick around. We're going to have a good chat. But I'm your host, Rousey. That over there is Adrian, or Hodgie, or
What up?
Old Ginger, or Ginger Ninja.
That's
or,
it. That's me, mate.
Yeah,
it was
or Soulless Leprechaun. I don't know.
that all of the above.
I think you're a bit too tall to be a leprechaun, though.
Yeah, 6 foot leprechaun. Yeah, I'll take it. but look, at the end of the day, mate, I'm a little exhausted. Last night was a taxing game, but a good win in nonetheless. So I'm pretty much riding on a high. I don't know about you.
Oh, yeah, I was riding on a high last night.
I was hoping you'd catch my drift there, and that's what we're going to call this episode: riding on a high.
Riding on a high. You know what? It's very rare that we actually get our bloody podcast name in the first 2 minutes of the episode, but I like your suggestion there. We'll fucking just go with that.
Let's do it. And I
Riding
will
on a
not
high.
try and Photoshop a bong. Well, I won't need to Photoshop. I'll just have a photo of you with a bong in your mouth.
Oh, that can be arranged.
I feel like YouTube will ban us, but
Fuck YouTube, mate. Fuck YouTube.
no, don't say that. We love you, YouTube. We love you so much. We love everything about you. Keep us on the platform. Fuck me. Like,
Oh yeah, no. It's all good. It's all good. I just have a bit of fun, and don't mind
too
my
much fun.
medicinal highs. So, got to be
Anywho.
medicinal, kids. Not off the streets. Got to be medicinal.
He has a prescription.
Got to have a prescription for that shit.
Anywho,
Anywho,
what? I feel like we got to go through the housekeeping first, do we?
do we?
Do we?
We got some
Feel like we
names
do.
we got to read out. Fuck me dead. All right.
Yep.
Okay, so got some names got to read out. Housekeeping. Housekeeping. Yeah, we got a fuckhead program. Did you know
This
this?
is a great start.
Did you know this, Adrian? We got a fuckhead
But I
program.
did. You know what? Every week we kind of do a cookie cutter style. This one's very different because it's just the wheels have fallen off, and I'm loving it.
So we got a fuckhead program, which is our Patreon. Links will be in the description down below.
Well, there it is.
If you want to join, it'll cost you $5 a month. That's the base tier, but we also have a $10 a month and $20 a month tier. But basically, for $5 a month, you get your name read out on the pod as a thank you every single week from us because we fucking love you. You get discount off our merch store of twobeardsmedia.com/shop. And you get access to a private fans only Discord. And yes, yours truly, Rousey and Hodgie over there, we're in it. So you get that, and you get you get giveaways in that Discord too. So you got to be a part of it. So we do give back for the $5 that you pay. Should you choose to take advantage of any of those perks.
Rouse, mate, you could sell me a 2002 Nissan shitbox and I would buy it off you just the way you sell it. Well done, mate. I think you've done a very good job there.
That was good. I should have a job in sales. Oh wait.
Oh wait, Okay. Well, in saying that, we want to thank our lovely executive producers because there would be no pod without them. They are the higher tier. We do have our Fuckheads Plus and Fuckheads Ultra tiers. So that's $10 and $20, and they get a executive producer credit for that $20, and they also get a rolling 6 months of merch. Our mate Anthony has actually texted me his address and everything for to be sent off. Sarah, I've just got to follow up with you. If you are listening to this, shoot us a message with what you want and the address, and we'll send you the free piece of merch that you get for being one of our executive producers. So that's right, Sarah, Anthony, Welsh Techie, Bryant, and David. Really, really cannot thank you all enough. You're brilliant human beings, and we just love having you a part of it. The rest of our fuckheads, Benjamin, Vincent, Jake, Ryan, Neb, Drew, Mark, Deandra, Anthony R, John, Chris W, Will, Andy, Aaron, the other Ryan from Me, the Wife, and Wrexham, who had a birthday last week. Shout out to him.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you, mate. We love you to pieces. And I know that we're only virtual buddies right now, but when we get there over there, we'd love to spend every waking minute with you, both of you. So you'll be sick of us by the end of the trip.
Literally, we will wake up next to you.
That's it. So, well, on that note, Rousey's a part of it. I'm a part of it. I'm fucking scared. I'm so sorry. But I'm looking forward to the things to come and talking a bit more about the agendas of what's happening at the moment, at Wrexham, player injuries, wins, all of the above. So much to talk about and more. Rousey, do you want to take us to that ad break?
Oh, we're going to have to get straight into it because of the amount of Wrexham stuff going on at the moment is just fucking mind-blowing. So
do it.
A lot of stuff going on. So let's start off with reviewing Rotherham, hey? Let's do that. After the break, guys. Stick around. This is going to get juicy, get good bit of fun. Let's do it. After the break, here it comes. Woo! Well, fuck me dead. That was a hell of a game. That was worth every cent. I don't know. I'm speechless at that. Probably not as speechless as the Rotherham fans because my gosh, they are hurting today. And I feel for you. You guys just got bloody parky bombed.
Terrorist football at its finest.
Yeah, I mean, listening to some of the fans are like, "Oh, we were the best on the field. We did not deserve that." I'm like, "Well, you didn't score." And we did after 16 fucking seconds. And how good was it? Paul Mullen. It was a 1-0 draw. It was a 1-0 scoreline. Paul Mullen on the score sheet after none other than 16 seconds off a blistering cross from none other than Barnett. I mean, the script writes itself there. I mean, Barnett cross, Paul Mullen in 16 seconds. Wow. Look, I lost my shit. I wasn't ready for that score to happen just then.
No, dude. I looked away for like a second because I was just opening up my can of beer, just kind of sipping it as it's going into the back of the net. I was like, Jesus fuck, like what is going on? And like, you know what? I think, and we're going to get into the depths of the injury and everything later on. But when Marriott was announced to be out, I'm like, all right, this is where Mullen needs to step up. Mullen needs to really, we've talked about it for weeks. This is where he needs to pull the trigger confidently and with purpose. And fuck me, did he just go, right, my team needs me. They need me to be the man to do it. Fuck yeah. And he did it. And look, give all the credit to Barney as well. Barney's probably one of the most underrated players in the competition, I believe. He's worth every cent we ever spent to get him across the line and keep his contract in place because he creates so fucking much. And to have a finisher like Paul Mullen, it just worked out so well, man. And I was happy with the 1-0 scoreline, mainly because that was my score prediction. I was very happy with it. I patted myself on the back, but at the same time, for the next 89 minutes, it was a little bit stressful because you're just like, okay, all right, we need to get another one here. Come on, let's not keep a 1-0 scoreline and then cough
Wrexham
one
are
up at
not
the
the
end.
team that will park their bus.
No, we don't park
No.
bus because that is not terrorist football.
No.
It was just, and look, I'll tell you about terrorist football because everyone goes, well, what is that defined as? What it's defined as is Wrexham had 34% possession. Rotherham had 66%. Total shots from Rotherham were 17. Total shots from Wrexham were 13. But what the big thing is, and what really does it for me, is they had 389 accurate passes, which is at an 83% success rate. We had only 152 accurate passes at only a 64% rate. And yet we come out victors 1-0 winners. They had more corners. They had 8 corners. We had 4. All of the stats chucked out the window. That is terrorist football. That is parky ball. And I think a lot of people go, oh, I would hate to watch that every week. Fuck off. As a Wrexham fan, as you, the listener who most likely is a Wrexham fan, you know how much parky ball is appreciated and loved within the 4 walls of that club and outside of it. So you can't tell me a 1-0 win like that, although stressful, isn't good, because at the end of the day, that 3 points versus, I don't know, who did we beat this year that we could talk about? The Wickham Wanderers game. That was still 3 points, but we were really happy with that. What's the difference? We did that away from home against Rotherham too.
I think we're all happy. It's just that if you're not a Wrexham follower, you're not happy because holy shit, you got a team here that will literally dismantle you and stop you playing the way you want to play, yet make you look good at the same time.
Make you look good at the same time. But I think there was a few people being a bit critical, Wrexham supporters alike, were being quite critical that, we should have been, putting more pressure on. We should have been creating more chances, blah, 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 blah.
There were a few clear-cut chances in that game that could have easily gone either way.
Yeah, and I think that's what the argument is from the anti-terrorist football side of things, is the people are going, well, why can't we just cement an extra goal or things like that and then do that kind of game style? Why do we have to ride on the seat of our pants? It's like, well, it wasn't from lack of fucking trying. Again, that's another thing we need to put into effect. We're playing away from home. We're known to not be at our best, and yet we won. We take the 3 points. We walk away, head held high, still in second position. Mullen back on the score sheet in the league. I know the situation would have been dire. Any other club loses a player. Any other club loses a player like Marriott before a game that is away in any league, from Premier League all the way down to the National League. You're fucked.
And that goal after 16, I mean, look.
Exactly.
It was a beautiful goal. It was a beautiful goal, a terrific goal, a goal like no one else has ever seen before in their life, which was perfect.
You're selling it too much, mate.
We made Mexico pay for it.
That's overselling it. Overselling it.
It just, oh, wow. I mean, look, they obviously didn't have Johnson Clark-Harris, which they were clearly missing. I mean, I know they had Hugel come on, which is their target man. But look, we looked shaky at some of those stages. We looked like we were getting penned in, but we handled it. We handled it really well.
Defensive pressure was a big one, I think. Like, I'm going to go, I know I've just gone into a bit of a brief thing here, but we ended up doing 33 clearances, which for any football match is fucking high. Rotherham did 18 clearances from that, and we did 88% effectiveness with our tackles in the defensive half. So tackles won were 15. Again, more of that is showing how Rotherham were putting on that pressure on our defensive halves. And I don't know how to put it, but we absorbed it quite well. I know there were a few chances that they could have put away and maybe should have as well. But I think personally, just from my viewing of the match and not even going off of these stats here, I felt like we handled it pretty well. were able to be a pretty good defensive unit, which, as you can admit, Rousey, in past seasons, we probably haven't been. We've been quite leaky in previous seasons with a bit of
especially away from home.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
especially away from home, and then that's where a lot of people get worried, and because
Again,
there's
a clean
obviously a
sheet.
clear difference in
Yeah,
home and away form. But the fact is, we just got a clean sheet against Rotherham at New York Stadium, and I'm so proud of our boys, mate. I'm honestly so proud of them. They went out,
yeah,
they put in everything. They looked fucked at the end of that. They looked absolutely spent, like they had given absolutely everything to defend that goal.
yeah,
And yes, look, there was a really good opportunity as well with Rathbone coming on, and
yep,
he obviously passed it off, saw a running Mullen after bloody 70 odd minutes. He's still running around
yeah,
like crazy.
yeah.
Passed it in front of him and gave him a clear avenue on goal, which he could have, like, the the goalkeeper literally got fingertips on it. Fingertips. Like it could have gone in. And then that would have been a brace for Mullen. But look, I think it's just an all-round great performances. And Rotherham fans, I know it hurts, I know it sucks, but take your medicine, move on. We are,
But
whether you like it or not, we are second. We're clearly second. And I think
wow,
we are the shoe-in for, well, I wouldn't say shoe-in, but we are looking very, very good for that second automatic promotion spot this year.
I think you mentioned that, and look, I agree with you for most of it because I think what you're saying is correct. We are showing that we are the big contender for that second spot. Like we talked to Nathan last week, Nathan Salt from Rob Ryan Red, in our last episode. If you haven't checked it out, feel free to check it out. But he made a really good point, which is it's about being gritty and really just chalking away. And if we're winning at home and drawing away, that's 2 points. If we can go one better and win them, then great. Do you know what I mean? Like he made a very good point. And obviously it seems silly. Of course, no shit. You win games, you do better, no shit. But at the end of the day, Birmingham are clear favourites, clearly ahead, top spot. And it's really just fighting for that second spot. And at this stage, there hasn't really been a contender other than Wrexham at this stage. In saying that, I don't think we're clear cut second either. I know that if, everyone was to play their catch-up games and win, we'd still be second in goal difference, assuming, someone doesn't smash someone. But at the end of the day, we can only beat what's in front of us. And that Rotherham game, for me and for you, I believe, was a danger game. It always was a danger game. And I think for us to pull away not only a clean sheet, but to take all 3 points, commend Parky Ball, commend the coaching that went out into that game, because that is not an easy win by any standard.
I heard on I was listening to a post Rotherham podcast thing, the instant reaction or whatever they call it, and they're like, what do they say? They said we were the worst team to visit a New York Stadium this season. We were the worst team to visit. Well, what the fuck? I mean, make up your mind. Are you higher than me or what? Because fuck me dead. We just beat you. So
But
they
I
cried.
like
They
I
cried,
get
mate.
I
They
get
cried.
that mentality, because we've had games where, I'm trying to think, maybe even the Newport game last season was a good example where, you know, we felt we were a better team, but we still lost. So I get that feeling, and stats try to be, well, quite flattering for them that they were the better team. But at the end of the day, you're not putting it in the back of the net. It means jack shit. And I think a lot of these people who say that, you can say that. Maybe we were the worst to do it. But then does that reflect how poor your team is? Because at the end of the day, you didn't win. So, and I'm a big believer in you're allowed to have your opinion, and maybe we are the worst team that's visited them, but that reflects quite poorly upon them. So I'd give us the credit we deserve. We got the clean sheet, we got the win, we stole it from them. We played terrorist football the Parky way, and not everyone likes it. I get it. It's not fucking Pep Guardiola football. You can't expect that from a League One team, emerging. Everyone just thinks, oh, because of our owners, we're a $1 trillion club. We're not. And at the end of the day, we're still a League One club competing in a League One league and against teams who are in the same position we are. Yes, we've spent a bit of money, but look who else has spent a lot of money. Rotherham. And what's happened? Injuries, no cohesion, not cementing, not working. So, money aside means jack shit.
And that's what I've been saying all along.
Yep.
Every single time this comes up, I'm like, money doesn't mean everything. You got to spend, one, you got to spend it smartly, but two, you got to make sure that you've got everything in place to make the team a team and make everyone play for the badge and play for each other.
Yep.
And that's what we have. And I think that a lot of people tend to underestimate that.
Yep.
And they really
100%.
do. And they don't understand how potent that is. When you got everyone firing like that, it's really hard to break you down. And, we weren't parking the bus. I would have liked to have seen us get a second goal. We probably almost nearly did a few times, and I know we came under serious pressure at some stage, but our boys, they just held it together. They just held it together. And there was no panic. It was calm. It was clinical. It was everything you would expect from a Wrexham side, and to go away like that and win like that, it just gives me so much hope for the rest of this season. So along may it continue. But
that's it.
This next round of games is a fucking doozy. We've got Huddersfield at home on Tuesday. Now look, Huddersfield, a tough side. Very, very tough side. And they
former Premier League
side. And they
sitting sixth, pretty good, sitting with, what have they got? They're a bit of an odd unit because they've got 6 wins, 5 losses, but they have not drawn one game this season. Not one. And Jesus. I'm trying to look at the rest of the league, and I don't think there's another team that hasn't drawn. And that is, I guess, it's all or nothing with Huddersfield, it looks like, just off of just pure statistics. You go, right, okay, 6 wins, 5 losses, plus 5 goal difference, 18 points, 6th position. It's not bad considering they've lost 5 games.
Yeah, I know. I mean, look, we'll just go through it. Obviously, they played Bristol Rovers, which they had a good 3-1 win against. In the trophy, they had a good win against Barnsley. And then they played Barnsley before that as well and had another 2-0 win. So that was weird. They lost to Birmingham, which was, so naturally, that's Birmingham. Everyone's going to fucking lose to them.
They're basically Thanos in this thing. They're just fucking inevitable.
Reading, they lost 2-1 to Reading. They lost 2-0 to Blackpool. They lost 3-1 to Northampton. Ooh. They won 4-0 to Bolton, which was freakish. I think you can put that down to one of those freakish games, So you look at who they've versed so far,
But it's all or nothing. Do you notice that with the score lines? They're they're throwing the kitchen sink and putting big scores, or they're getting done.
Yeah.
And it seems like that, to be honest, that's what Wrexham was very much like. I mean, I know it's hard to think of it now when we look back at, remember when we were in the National League, and yes, it was a dominant force and most of them were wins. But think about how many games where we threw the kitchen sink at them, but they would score within the first 10, 20 minutes. And then we would play catch up ball and then, win 3-1 or win 2-1 or draw. How many times did that happen? And I kind of see Huddersfield in that boat. I have not seen a single bit of their footage. Again, I'm going simply off of the stats that I'm looking at here. That's what I'm getting from them. And against a Bolton to get a big scoreline like that, huge. And it's not to say that that can't be done against Wrexham, but I hope and love to think that Wrexham are more defensively minded to absorb it, much like what we did against Rotherham. There was a lot of attacks happening at one stage last night where we were starting to get a bit under pressure, and we absorbed the pressure. We didn't let it rattle us. We moved on. I'm hoping we can kind of do the same thing here. And as you've already alluded to, that one is at our home ground, and you have talked about it all season long. It is the fortress. It is the Kairos. It is the place to be for Wrexham.
Yeah.
You want to be there. You don't want to be, if
you're coming to Wrexham, bring lube.
Pretty much. I'm on the very much on that against the Huddersfield. You're not losing. You might get a draw. It might be their first draw of the season because we've just harped on about how they haven't drawn. But I don't see us losing. I really don't. And midweek, there will be a bit of rotation. The good thing about Wrexham is, you lose a Jack Marriott and you go, fuck, who Paul Mullen's going to play. But then what about the games that are midweek? What about the rotation and the fitness? Guess who we've got? Mo Fowl. We've got extras and overs. We've got Ollie. We've got Fletch. We've got these people who are able to fill in the boots and help people like a Mullen rest if he needs it. But I'll tell you what, would not be surprised if Mullen still plays on Wednesday. No, sorry, it's Tuesday night.
Well, he needs to. He's obviously, on the fast track to getting back up to speed, getting that match sharpness up, getting that fitness up. I mean, that would have done wonders for him against Rotherham to play that whole time. That would have done absolute wonders for him. And I think he probably needed it. And he said himself, obviously, in his post-match interview that he was just run out on his feet at the end of the game. And it was the crowd that lifted him. But, I mean, he looked absolutely shattered by the end of it. And every player on that team did. Every player on that team gave 110% to defend that early goal. Because scoring that early is nervy. And it just made that whole game nervy. And I don't know. I had the ball sweats after that. I still got them, mate.
It was one of those ones where it sticks in your mind, like, oh my god.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's 3 points, and if you told me we'd do that before the game, I'd take it every day of the week. Every day of the week.
So, what's your prediction for Huddersfield then?
Well,
because we got to back it up. These are two tough League One teams. One obviously ex-Prem.
Yep.
One ex-championship. So we've just faced an ex-championship team.
Well, when this airs, the game will have been played. So we're going to either look really smart or really foolish. But I'm going 2-0. I think we win 2-0, keep another clean sheet. It's at home. I think with Mo Fowl, probably I'd like to think maybe getting some game time there. Mullen definitely, if not starting, would be there again to kind of do something. I don't know, mate. Under the lights at Wrexham, it just seems like we can't do no wrong. I'm going with a 2-0, but I wouldn't be surprised if Huddersfield put up a fight and we only squeak a draw. But 2-0 is what I'm going to back.
See, I almost literally completely agree with you on that one. A 2-0 win. I'm actually quite liking that one. I'm tossing up between three score lines. So 2-0, 3-0, or 3-1. And I just don't know which one I'm going to settle on. So, you try and pick these games and how they're going to go. But typically, Wrexham at the racecourse has always been a high-scoring game for Wrexham. They've always scored more than two. I think their average expected goal per game at the racecourse is currently 3.
Really? Fuck, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I think their XG at the racecourse is 3. Their most on-form team at home in the competition.
Well, and that's why, I mean, a 2-0 is still nothing to sniff at for me, because at the end of the day, this is still a good side. Huddersfield have pedigree. They're just, I'm a bit of a soft spot for one of my favorite local Australian players, Aaron Moy, who's since retired, played when Huddersfield were in the Premier League. So I always kept an eye on him being an Australian there and bald as well, so that helps. But seeing him play for Huddersfield, I was able to see kind of what their rise and at their peak, and now obviously they're coming down from that. They're going to want to try to pick up the pieces and start to make a move back into the championship at the very least. So, look, I wouldn't be surprised if it is lower scoring than we would hope, but I'm still sticking with a 2-0 win just because it's at home. Completely different scoreline if we were away. If we were away, I'd probably say a 1-1 draw. But because we're at home, because, Mullen's got that goal in the pocket now, I just think it's on for young and old.
Floodgates are open.
Yeah.
I'm gonna settle on a 3-0 win to Wrexham.
Nice. Very nice.
So
again, I think the best part of these score lines is like, look, as much as I was like, yes, 1-0, I was begging for a fucking second goal. I'm like, I hate when people go, oh, but aren't you happy you got the scoreline? I'm like, nah, because I just sweated through my shirt and, have severe reflux because of the nerves that we just went through for those 90 minutes. So these score lines are just predictions. They're not what we want. At the end of the day, we want to win fucking 20-0. That's what we want.
You don't want sweaty jocks.
No sweaty jocks.
No sweaty jocks.
Not this week, at least.
No, it doesn't smell great.
It's not.
Well, look, we got some Wrexham news now to talk about, and a lot of Wrexham news. So let's go to a quick ad break. Come back, discuss this Wrexham news, and wrap up the show. Let's do it. Woo! Well, Wrexham news, around the town news, everything's going on, everything's bloody happening. We got injuries, we got sad stuff to talk about. I like to just kick this segment off. Look, I know a lot of you guys know me as the old jokey Rousey and all that sort of stuff, and like to make lightheartedness of situations. But look, I just want to take a moment now to honor, well, say honor, but just to pay our respects to Steve Bruce. Lost his kid, is 4 months old. So Steve Bruce being the gaffer of Blackpool. And obviously he's taken some time out to deal with the loss of his child of 4 months, and absolutely brutal. So my heart, I know the heart here of us two beards go out to the Blackpool gaffer, Steve Bruce. Tough, very, very hard time for anyone to go through. I couldn't imagine losing a child myself. So there's that. So I'll put that out there. Just say, Steve Bruce, we're thinking of you. Our thoughts are with you, and I will hope to see you back soon. Yeah. So there we go. I said that bit. Let's bring it back around now. I just felt I had to say that because it was so brutal. That's so brutal.
Nah, it's brutal, but it's also, you know what? I think the biggest thing about what we do is we try to, whatever's going on in your life, might be poor, you might be having a bad day, and you shouldn't ever diminish, the way that you're feeling about life in general. So when you hear someone else experiencing something like that, sometimes it can put perspective into place. Okay, me being, late for work because of a shitty driver in front of me, gives you a bit of perspective. Maybe I can, it's not the end of the world. Whereas, things like that is a bit of end of the world stuff. So, it does put in perspective, but at the same time, it also shows that you're not alone. So if you are going through something similar, you are going through that kind of thing, reach out to Lifeline and things like that. To your local, we have put it in our previous episodes. A couple of weeks ago, we have a couple. We had the UK, the US, and the Australian lifelines there for situations like that where it all feels a bit lost, and it might not be that situation in general. It might be something completely different. But at the end of the day, we're all humans, and we're here, me and Rouse, just to have a laugh and to hopefully make you feel somewhat happy and have a chuckle. And if you do, then that's great. But obviously, real life things happen, and we never want to steer away from that. So definitely reach out to your friends, family, and obviously the lifeline sources. And I'll pop them back in the description here as well.
Ooh. So, on other bad news, Jack Marriott broke his leg. I think
Yeah.
every Wrexham fan's heard this by now. Rumors came out midweek that
Yep.
he was injured, but there wasn't any official news from the club until after the game.
Yep.
And Parky had actually said, those boys had played for Jack that day, and I
Yep.
really like that. It just goes to show that there is even Paul Mullen in his post-match interview mentioned it. Um, so obviously, yes, he knew that he had to get his way back in. And Jack Marriott is holding his spot, and now it's obviously all on Paul Mullen to now make his statement. But Jack Marriott's got a broken fibula. For those that don't know what a fibula is, that's the big long bone on your shin. It really fucking hurts if you break that.
Yeah.
Um, and
It's
that's a long recovery.
very much so. I mean, Parky did an interview with BBC Sport Wales where he's like, Jack struck the ball at goal with no one near him, but his foot went from underneath him and has broken his fibula that way. He's thinking 4 months minimum. It's a serious injury. It's difficult for him to get such a serious injury in such a innocuous circumstance. And look, that's the biggest thing out of that as well is, you have moments like what happened with Paul Mullen, where he's punctured a lung or whatever last season, and that was there's someone to blame. There's something. Whereas this is just
Freak
fucking shit
accident.
luck. It's
Shit
just the
luck.
worst luck, and it hurts. So for him, it's got to hurt. It's got to. To be honest, it also has to suck for Paul Mullen as well because that's not how he wants to earn his spot. He wants to earn his spot by by putting up great efforts, 110% efforts against the likes of a Marriott as well. So I'm sure that hurts a little bit across the side, obviously because he's such a much loved player as well amongst the boys. I know that we say that everyone is, but really, I don't know if you've seen the videos that he does for the club and things like that. But like even just seeing him a part of it, the boys just really get around him. So yeah, they really did win it for him. My biggest thing out of this is, and I'll probably ask you this question, Rouse, is do you think that there's almost a sped up pressure on Mo Farah? Because I know that me and you and Nathan Salt last week were discussing, Mo Farah's a project player. There's no real rush with him. Do you think this speeds up his process or do you think it just stays the same and we kind of rely on Mullen to kind of pick up where he left off?
Well, look, he will be coming in now as a fourth choice striker, maybe coming in and playing alongside Fletch. Or maybe they'll play with that partnership a little bit to try and prepare it for, moving forward. It could be but Mo Farah is a project and he was bought as a project. So, you know, it's a tough call. I hate to predict what Parky's going to do, and a lot of people make predictions, and for me, I think he'll just come on and get some game time, maybe final minutes experience. Um, Palmer, who obviously had a contract extension during the week. I mean, he keeps just setting the bar. He really
He's
does,
proven everyone
Palmer.
wrong, including, like I listened back to our pod last week and it wasn't us per se, but like, it was mentioned, is Ollie a championship level player? If we are to go up, is that, and obviously the club has faith in that because the club has all but confirmed that they want to be in the championship next season. Obviously, that's what the goal is. No shit, but like I think Ollie has really, like you said, raised the bar, proved people wrong, but he does it in such a way that is just it doesn't have to be flashy. It just has to be consistent. And I think that's something that he lacked last season was consistency. And I feel like he's really come into his own with that consistency. So I really agree with you, mate. He's raised the bar. He's proven everyone wrong, got that year extension, whether it's in League One again next season or Championship, obviously to be determined. But the club obviously believes he's at that level. And you know what? I'm starting to believe it too because that's what you need. is people you can depend on. And right now, we can depend on him.
You know who else we can depend on?
Oof.
Elliot Lee.
I'd love to bring this up because I know you've got a bit of a spiel to talk about here, but I did want to raise the question so that we can obviously open this can of worms. There is I wouldn't say a vendetta. I'll just say there is a bit of a speculation around the club's midfielders at the moment, specifically around Elliot Lee. Maybe not performing to the high standard that we hold him to. For
I
example,
call bullshit.
yes, but before you call
I call
bullshit,
bullshit.
okay, before you call bullshit, we're not diminishing him as a player. He's an incredible player. But what I'm trying to say is this is where people are getting it from. So if you go off of last night's game, sorry, you look at, I'm looking at FOTMob stats, which are irrelevant in the end of the day, but something to go off here. So all of the defenders sit in the green or best on. So for example, Barnett got best on with 8.7, O'Connell 7.4, Scar 7.3, O'Connor 7.5, McLean 7.6, all in the green. Our midfielders, on the other hand, even though our attackers, Paul Mullen sat on 8.0, and then, we have people being consistent. Then you've got the midfielders. You had Lee on 6.9, Dobson on 6.9, Cannon on 6.4. Now, again, fucking means nothing. But what I think a lot of people are reading into is stats wise, everything wise, the midfield has been less potent than previous seasons because the leagues are getting harder. Now, that's my answer to this situation with Elliot Lee because I don't think Elliot Lee's doing anything wrong. I think he's just playing in a league that is more to his level, that he can't stand out the way he used to.
That's what we spoke about the other week, and we
Yeah.
came up with that. And I said when you're more, you're on a better league, better players. If players make less mistakes, you're going to not look as specky. But he still has those moments in him. He was still involved in a hell of a lot last night. Now, a lot of these people, and I was listening to the local pundit, and they were all talking about it. Shout out local pundit, but guys, and Americans as well, because a lot of Americans fail to see this. And yes, I'm calling out some of the American fan base. I love you to death. I really do. But
Your funeral, mate.
yes, but you need
They
to
got
open your eyes a
guns.
bit more with Elliot Lee because he's doing very, very well. And if you disagree with me, fuck yeah, because I can promise you now, he is very good. He's one of our, I'd say he'd almost be first on team sheet every single week. He's that good.
Look,
He's needed because he's got that link up play. Dobson, every single time Dobson gets the ball, he's looking where Lee is. He's looking where McLean is. He's looking forward and he's looking for that link up play. And those guys are that link up play. Now, it just so happened to be that a lot of teams that come to us and a lot of the ways of shutting us down is to shut down those three players, right? So they're going to cop a lot of attention from opposing teams because every single team that's done well against us this season has effectively shut down our midfield. Now, or caused issues for them at least, or something. And that's pretty much what happened last night too, is that they were paying such close attention to the midfield that it didn't look as specky, but they still did something with it. They still got through. And 6.9 is almost a 7. I mean,
yeah, look, and I know that, as I said, flop mob doesn't mean shit, but like it's more just that's the only kind of thing I can kind of see where people are trying to come from, which is, well, if you look at the rest of the unit, the defensive players are playing consistently in that higher points. They're playing at a better rate, blah, blah, blah. I see where a lot of people are coming from, especially we know that the midfield has been kind of not exposed. I wouldn't say exposed. The only time I reckon we got it exposed truly was against Birmingham. I think the rest was a bit lackluster from us. But
I mean, Elliot Lee, in all honesty, Elliot Lee, Paul Mullen, Max Cleworth, possibly Andy Cannon, and James McLean. They're my shoe-ins, my hallmarks
Mm.
of players that will be with us should we reach the Premier League in the next 2 years.
Yeah, and here's the thing: McLean probably not so much. As much as I love him, he's probably going to be a bit older around that time. But in saying that, love for him to prove me wrong. But I get where you're coming from. But I think the big thing I need to tell you is, as a big Elliot Lee fan, is I think a lot of these opinions are not to say that he's not a good player or he's not a fantastic player. I think they're just saying at the moment he hasn't been performing as well as what a lot of people are used to. And I think there is a clear difference there. So
I don't think
they're
he's
not
not
saying
performing as well. He's just performing at a different level or a different rate.
exactly.
Just looks
Yes, but at the
different.
same time, that's how they're saying it. I think that's where I'm trying to come from here. I'm with you, mate. I think Elliot Lee's one of our first on the team sheet. He's one of our best players. Not disregarding that at all. I just try to see where the other people are coming from. Where it is, they're not trying to say he's a shit player. I think they're just trying to say at this point in the game, at this time, especially last season in League Two, our best player was Elliot Lee. And that's just not the case this season because we have other contributors, other people performing better, people that you didn't think would stand up as well as they have. McLean in League One, fucking smooth operator. Like he's actually doing quite well. You've got, like we mentioned before his injury, Maxi Boy was, if not still our best player. And Nathan Salt alluded to it last week where he said, if we can keep him, he'd be with us there. But yeah, I'm like these are the kinds of players that are doing well. But Elliot Lee is definitely a part of that bracket. I would love to see him prove everyone wrong this midweek, and I'd love for this episode to air where Elliot Lee's kicked 2 goals, 3 goals, or some shit, or got an assist,
I
or
hope
just
so.
torn up
I
the
hope
park.
so because it pisses me off. It fucking pisses me off when I hear people putting Elliot Lee down or saying that he's not up to scratch of what he used to be. He's part of the glue in that midfield, and honestly, if he's not scoring goals, so what? I mean, fuck, he almost scored one on the weekend too, and he was there. He's getting in front. He scored. He scored in the last round.
Mm.
He's actually scored goals this season. He's doing well.
No,
People
yeah,
need to
look,
calm the
no
farm a
one
little
is.
bit.
No one's
I just
disputing that fact. I think they're just saying as of the last couple games, just
nah.
kind
There's
of.
in the last couple of games he's been on fire too. I don't know what they're thinking. They're smoking too. They're smoking
I wouldn't
the
say he's been
wrong
on
brand
fire,
of
but I
lead.
definitely think he's been a well-oiled machine and really helped with the cohesion. But I wouldn't say he's lighting the league ablaze. That's for sure.
He's not like okay. Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I'm shock horror. I agree. He's not lighting the league ablaze, but he is he is part of the glue
Yeah,
of the
he's the
team.
glue. No, I agree, mate.
So
I love
put
your
him
work,
down
mate.
at your peril because I'm getting fucking sick of it. The
The
dude
comments are going to be
is
fucking riddled with it. And I'm kind of look
bring it
forward to
on
seeing.
because the next week's then podcast will be me calling everyone a bunch of cunts.
You're a dick. You're a cunt. You suck. Fuck you. Like, I kind of see that happening. But look, at the end of the day, mate, I think there has been a real, I'd say, our midfield in previous seasons has been what has made us. And I think this year has been a bit of a different story. Our defensive players have really stood up, really absorbed a lot of pressure and been able to start. I know a lot of people call it hoofball because it kind of skips over the midfield and lob it long or whatever. But having a Barnett running from that wing, mate, holy fuck, McLean on the other side. Do you know what I mean? Like it's these kinds of things that we did have with Mendy, we did have, with other players as well in the past. I'm not saying we didn't. I just think that's become a more prominent gameplay, whereas previous seasons it would have been, Elliot Lee or, Sexy George on the ball, pulling the piss out of the opposition and just, playing around with the ball there, putting it out wide to a Barnett who then
I mean,
slots the
does he
ball
need
into a
to
Mullen.
score two to bloody, you know, get everyone on side or whatnot? I mean, the dude's
No,
is
no.
running his ass off. He's breaking lines all the time. He's that. Oh yeah.
You're just digging a hole, mate.
I'm
It's
just
fine.
going to leave it right there and just say Rousey's verdict. Elliot Lee is the fucking shit. And if you think otherwise, you need to go get some glasses.
You heard it here first.
Or change
Rousey
your
thinks
strain
Elliot
that
Lee
you're
is
smoking.
fucking shit. That's what he
I
said.
did not say. No, I didn't. He is the shit. Anyway, after the break, we'll wrap things up. We will answer a fan question that obviously was on put a really good comment on last week's podcast. So if you're that fan, listen. We've got some good stuff for you.
Oh, fuck. Was that me? I don't
know. Oh, shit. All right. Well, after the break, we'll wrap things up. This has been a good episode. See you after the break. Hang around. Woo. Well, we've had some fun this week. What a week. We had obviously Nathan Salt from Rotherham Red on our last podcast. No Rich Fay. He didn't show up. Where the fuck were you, mate? Come on.
Also, can we just have a quick comment poll? How many times did I or Rousey mention Nathan Salt in this episode? Because he was riddled throughout it. So shout out, mate. Well done.
I don't know. He's a great bloke. I had a lot of fun with him. Now, we had some obviously good comments on the podcast last week. Our most liked podcast as well, which is odd.
That's a slap in the face tonight. That's a bit odd. Fucking best like one. Fuck off.
But we had a good comment.
Read it out, Chief.
I'm going to read it out. So this is coming from a red_snapper. All right.
Love that name, by the way.
Left a good thing. And we're going to answer this question right now. Right. So he said, finally, a podcast that talks like all your mates do with swearing. Fucking oath. That was always our thing. We'll sort of. So he subbed. So welcome to the Two Beards Wrexham.
Salute you.
Yeah. If you want to become a fuckhead, links in the description down below. After first seeing the podcast, I thought, here we go again. Someone else trying to jump on the Wrexham bandwagon.
Yeah, to be fair, I would feel that way too if I saw this bald fucker on a fucking camera, just like right up in your face talking Australian. Nah, I'm with you, mate.
You two obviously seem a bit different, though. Even put that in italics. Well, this dude.
I'm putting that on my resume. We are very different.
One question for you both: why did you choose Wrexham to follow from the other side of the world, or was it just the documentary? So I think we've actually addressed this before, but let me just start this by saying, so look, I grew up as a middle-class kid. And I, coming up through middle class, raised by my parents in the middle class, sometimes I would struggle to find, enough money for food and all that sort of stuff. So I had to supplement that by watching Wrexham, and it was the only entertainment I had because we didn't have enough money, sometimes to even just cut the grass. So, being a middle class kid in Australia is rather tough. Adrian's like, what the fuck is he talking about? If you know, you know. Nah, look, it was. Are you all right there, Adrian?
What are you talking about?
Oh dear. Okay. All right. Well, that's
Wrexham. You're saying when you were growing up?
Yes. Yeah. Grew up as a middle class kid.
So you only could watch Wrexham to kind of keep going.
Okay. If you're American and you follow Kamala Harris, you'll understand what I just did. I'm just going to say that. I'll just leave it right there.
We said we'd never bring politics into this, and he brings it in straight away. Motherfucker.
No, because Saturday Night Live are pulling. I just thought I had to do it. It's like perfect opportunity. I had to do it. But no, look, yes, look, at the end of the day, the documentary was a big reason why we started following Wrexham, but it's not the only reason we started following Wrexham. I knew of Wrexham, being a lifelong English football fan myself. I always knew of them, but it was essentially the documentary that got me to really pay attention to them. But what really made me a fan was what the team represented and what the town represented. It resonated with me. And I just felt it was a story that had to be told and it had to be shared with the world. And look, not everyone has Disney Plus down here. Not everyone knows about Wrexham down here. So that's what our goal is just to spread that word. Um, so yeah. So yeah, the documentary did have a big part to play with it, but I wouldn't say we're necessarily bandwagon jumpers because the difference with the bandwagon jumper is if Wrexham start playing shit, we're still going to be here, still going to be doing this week in, week out,
For
unless
sure.
something else happens. But yeah,
Fuck off. Like, I think, look, for me specifically, to answer the question truly and honestly, is when the club was
well,
first
like I wasn't
purchased.
true and honest.
For the first part of that, Jesus Christ. Anywho, for me personally, it was simply we love the club because of when it was purchased by Rob and Ryan. Obviously, I was a big Deadpool fan back in comic books before even Ryan Reynolds. So when he came into it, became a bit obsessed with what he was doing. But really, it was actually because I'm a big Always Sunny fan, and Rob basically purchasing this club and there's going to be this show around it. I was like, I need to get in on this like from the get-go. So I tried to look up little bits and pieces as I could. Back then there was no National League TV, so there was nothing like that. And it was just recording that you saw through the documentary is what I got to see for first vision, really. Obviously YouTube videos, things and stuff like that. So yeah, the documentary came in and then it kind of cemented my love for the club because I got to finally see it properly, I'd like to say, on camera. It's not, bootleggers, camcorder. So it was good to kind of see that. But I think what cemented it for me, basically, National League game against York, we drew 1-1 and it ruined my fucking weekend because we were up 1-0 the entire time. And I think the 89th minute, 90th minute rolled around, they score. And it just shattered me. And I realized how invested I was because I realized it's 3 a.m. in Australia watching this game and it's ruined my weekend. And that's when I knew I was truly invested. So no, honestly, it's been such a wild ride. And
to
just
be
to do
fair,
this, mate,
just to
hey,
add to that,
yeah. Oh,
like
here we go. All right, Kamala
I
Harris.
don't
Continue.
really give a shit that Rob and Ryan are our owners.
No, no one does.
Anyone can own us, and that's fine. Anyone can, as long as they're good to the club and good to the community. Anyone can own us, and I would still be putting out the same podcast every single week in, week out. The fact that Rob and Ryan are owners doesn't mean a hell of a lot to me. It's great. It's a lot of
But it's what
publicity
got
for the club.
the vision out there is what we're trying
Yeah,
to say.
it's what got the vision out there. And um yeah, should the wheels fall off the bandwagon and shit start going south and we start getting relegated back down the leagues, which, God forbid that ever happens, or we go through a tough time, we're still going to be here. We're still going to be, we feel that strongly about this team that we want this team to do well and we want to be, yes, you got it tattooed on him. I've got,
I can't
Iman
escape
here
it.
tattooed on me. It is just one of those things that our love for this club is so deep seated. It's like this is my childhood club almost. I know I was a Coventry boy, but this really feels like I have more of a connection to this club than I ever had with Coventry or any other club. So, yeah, look, I honestly put it down to that yeah, look, the documentary did play a big part, but I wouldn't say we're bandwagon jumpers. Because we're going to be still here regardless of what happens to the club. Yeah, so I think that answers that question.
Pretty well.
Growing up in the middle class, and
Oh, fuck's sake.
I'm going to task you, Adrian, now to
I'm not
go and
watching it.
research.
I
If
don't
you
care.
research that,
Could we answer that question properly? This guy's trying to like actually get a genuine answer out of us, be honest and everything. And we're just like, you fuck you. It honestly caught me off guard, but no, look, I'm sure if people got the reference, then I am just the idiot who didn't. So, I'm sure it was a funny one. But in the meantime, big one here is we're here to stay, with or without owners, without the EFL. If we went straight to bloody National League North, then of course I would still be here and Rousey would still be here. At the end of the day, it's under our skin, and I think. Bit hard to detract from that. And yeah, may it long continue in terms of the long support we have, because I don't see an end anywhere in sight.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Righto. Okay, so we're going to end this here. I think that was a very, very good week, a good podcast. We've got a lot coming up. Hopefully we come back with a good win against Huddersfield, and
well, the result will be out there, so you can comment on it saying "you idiots," or you can be like, "Well done, you geniuses."
Oh, you know what? You know what else is going to happen between now and then? It's going to be the next game we have.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Got a weekend game.
We got a weekend game.
Charlton.
So let's just quickly look. I know we want to talk about that, but I think we'll just throw out a very quick prediction. Quick prediction. Let's have a quick look at who we got. We will have Charlton away. I reckon another 1-0 will do us just fine.
It would. A 1-0 would be great. I'm going with a 1-1 draw. I think it'll be a bit of a slogfest, especially the fact that there's a midweek game. We'd have no Marriott anymore, so Mullen and Mo, would probably need to rotate, things like that. So just because of the 7-day break and 2 games in 7 days, I'm going to go with a bit of a slog and 1-1. I'd love us to prove that completely wrong, but I think a draw is quite accurate.
I'm going to rely on the fact that our team is fitter than Charlton, because Charlton will have exactly the same thing. They'll have, can't be coming in with some spicy games as well. And yeah, I'm going to go with a 1-0 win to Wrexham on that one. And we'll be coming back on next week's podcast just like losing our absolute shit.
I hope so.
Like, what the fuck just happened? Because if we can do this, if we get 3 points tomorrow,
the big travel points, too.
Yeah, and 3 points at Charlton. Then
no, but it's like, I'm saying the Charlton game is a bit of a travel, so that might factor in as well. So for those who are traveling, good on you. Enjoy it. Hope it's a good day. I know that was it Charlton who was doing it? Oh fuck, I want to say it was them, but they're basically advertising the game as welcome to Wrexham, but London. Welcome to London. So looks a bit silly, but you know what? Good on them. They'll have their most sold out game this year guaranteed, and it will be something on for young and old. I'm still calling a 1-1 draw. You're calling a 1-0 win. Regardless, this club, you and I both bleed red. Regardless.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Righto. Let's end it here, guys. Thank you for listening to us. Leave a comment down below. If you got anything you wish to us to say, if you want to reach out or give the episode a like. Let's see if we can beat last week's like, which is probably not going to happen, but we'll see. Give the episode a like, and subscribe and share the absolute shit out of it. Links will be in the description down below for our Fuckheads program. We love our fuckheads. Come and join us. It's great, and it helps support the show and helps get us to Wrexham. And I think that's just about it. Come along, have some fun. I'm your host Rousey from the 2 Beards Wrexham podcast. That is Adrian, mate. I'm going to go and cry in my pillow because I'm going to miss you for a week.
And I'm going back to the dungeon.
Wait, when did we swap roles? When are you in the dungeon?
I think it's just a bit of I just think being submissive this week is a bit of a different thing, different take, just I don't know. Anyways, fuck it. Let's go.
Tune in next week. Adrian will be wearing a gimp suit. Anyway. Oh, shit. All right, guys. We love you. We'll see you guys on the next 2 Beards Wrexham podcast. Bye. Woo.